Anthropomorphism is making an animal act as if it appeared human, such as wearing clothes, showing human behaviors, gestures, and talking. It can be confused with personification, which is giving a part of an animal or an object human characteristics, although it isn't. If you said a bird was having a conversation with another bird over breakfast, that would be personification, since they actually are just chirping at one another while eating worms. Yet, when we put it in the lens of how humans would do it, it's personification and not anthropomorphism. Why we anthropomorphize animals, objects, and creatures stem from a multitude of reasons. It might be creating the tangibility of something unhuman, such as the divine golden calf in Exodus 32:25, the Old Testament. Branching off the same religious idea, anthropomorphism showcased evil and the devil in the Sabbatic goat. This was decided upon due to paganism, but also in sacred scriptures mankind were compared to sheep that followed their shepherd, their belief in God. Sheep are pack-driven and rely on their shepherd. The goats look similar to the sheep, but are defiant and scatter the sheep, bringing destruction to mankind. This was done so believers would pray to God in order to not become a goat who would destroy the herd. Of course, the modern take on the devil is more goblin-like, which is horrid, tout, angry, and this ugly version of a human. It is the embodiment of the bad nature in humankind. It was done when the goat was no longer sufficient in inciting fear, but whether intentionally or not, this endorsed racism because of the goblin's darker color of skin. This style of anthropomorphism is used in political satire to get across points clearly, but also sometimes to not directly state it in legible text. For example, this painting where President Trump is depicted as a pig means he is sluggish, arrogant, and disgusting. If Trump in this context was like Pinocchio and we saw him transform into an animal, this would be called metamorphosis. This is used to show that something is emerging or changing rather than already being there. So when we anthropomorphize, we focus on the animal's connotations rather than their denotations. That is why animals are used a lot in nursery stories, as they can teach children more complex ideas on society and personality visually. And a more mature example would be in propaganda, displaying the English as lions and the Russians as bears. Anthropomorphism can also trick the psyche to see something as more human, and this could be to squelch a person's loneliness, seeing pets, objects, and robots as human. This emotional response to animals and such emerged around the 20th century romanticism of fauna, according to Paul Wells. Anthropomorphism is used in promotion and selling. It can give a brand a particular personality of its own by having an animal mascot that will entice, usually children, to buy. Anthropomorphism occurs frequently in animation because of those connotations we see in animals. A bunny will be innocent and full of life, because it has big eyes and bounces around quite like a 5-year-old human kid. And since most major animation is intended for children, having a clear establishment of attributes will help to make the story more simple. There are 4 steps to Paul Wells' model, and I will use Fantastic Mr. Fox as the animated paradigm character to represent these. 1. Pure animal. When the animal character is displayed through the traits and behaviors of that animal, Fantastic Mr. Fox is shown to growl, scratch, bite, climb, and dig to survive. 2. Aspiration human. Is used to show the positive human attributes and desired motives. Mr. Fox is able to devise plans, manage, entertain crowds, display bravery against the insurmountable wrath of the farmers, and provide for his family and friends. 3. Hybrid human-animal. Is a metaphorical and symbolical idea when the animal's actions and human actions align. Their mirroring serves to comment on how society operates. Fantastic Mr. Fox shows 2 companies perpetuating a conflict of outdoing the other by seizing the bigger score. Mr. Fox wears a business suit like Mr. Bean, and Mr. Bean wears the foxtail as a tie. They naturally couldn't be more alike. 4. Critical human. This showcases the negative aspects of humanhood. Through the animal, it delivers a critique on what is deemed bad in our society. Mr. Fox is stubborn, negligent, and brash by putting his neighbors in danger because of his thieving of the farmer's produce. A character who is a real creature and has a real behavior would be the kitten from Kit Bull Sparkshot. The kitten is a normal stray cat, but feels compassion for the dog. A character who is real yet fantastical in behavior would be Pixar's Luxo the lamp. It's a realistic lamp that has come to life. A character who is fantastic but real in behavior would be Pete's dragon, since he is an unrealistic forest creature but has the behavior of a canine. A character who is fantastic in behavior would be Kermit the Frog from the Muppets, since he is a puppet who says he's a frog but just looks like a green sock. He also doesn't act like a frog, being more of a vaudeville performer. For anthropomorphic characters, there are conditions for their animism, and this is how much human apparent qualities do they need to be anthropomorphic. With Luxo, nothing visually is added. His movement squeaks, and the bulb acting as an eye is enough for his character to feel alive. This was handled differently in Pixar's Finding Nemo. They added eyebrow lumps and speech to the fish in order to sell the necessary human emotions. In Beauty and the Beast, the footstool's legs and swaying tassels is enough to see it as a quadruped dog with a wagging tail, along with the added barking. And in other cases, like Henry the Hoover, printed on eyes and a smile is all you need to see the appliance as a person.